Leader.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of our Oshumi Federal Constituency. And by the grace of God, I'm the minority leader of this House. Mr. Speaker, I'm raising a point of order section, constitutional point of order, section 68(1)G. And with your kind permission, I may want to read. Being a person whose election to the House was sponsored by one political party, he becomes a member of any other political party before the expiration of the period of which that House was elected. The person, he was elected by ABGA. And I'm not aware, by atom of information, that ABGA is having any issue. I'm only putting the House on notice that what he has done is totally illegal because he came under ABGA and ABGA is not having issue. So leaving ABGA to APC when there are no issues means that we will contest it. The campaign is illegal, and I think that the chair, the speaker, should declare his seat vacant for that purpose. I so submit.
Thank you very much. I think the government of what you have said is that you are not aware. You are not aware may not be the reason that there could be not have been issues with the party. And I want to believe you are the leader of minority, and though from the majority, I believe the issues out there, you know it better. For Anambra, where the home state of the ABGA is, the issues there are more pronounced even than some of us that are reading from the pages of the newspaper. So in light of that, I want to rule out of order. Thank you. Point of order. What's the point of order?
Okay, is it you that do it?
I thought it's Latin. You are Mike.
Okay, fine. All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Solomon Bob. I am from Rivers State and I represent Abu Audu and Ahoda East Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I bring this point of order pursuant to Order 6 of our rules. I think that with due respect to my friend Hembe, this thing borders on the privilege of all of us here. And I bring this point of order in support of what my friend just said. If we continue along this line, we are going to erode the integrity of this House. It doesn't matter who it favors right now. We have to stand by our constitution and by the rules that guide this House and this country. The movement of a member from one party to another, moving across spectrums, is not what we should encourage. So we need to put our feet down and take a stance. I have a lot of respect for him, he's my friend, but this is beyond friendship. We need to do what is proper. Yes, I call on the leadership to take a stand on this kind of cross-spectrum movements. It's not helping us. It's unconstitutional. It's absolutely unconstitutional. It's a travesty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. Maybe you are not working alongside our rules. Ruling has already been given. And you cannot expect me now from the chair to draw my earlier ruling. So I want to beg you that we have noted your comments. Thank you very much. Any member who has petitioned to present to the House may please rise to do so. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Gibeon Fitila Goroki are my names. I represent the good, hard-working people of Weep, Shellam Federal Constituency from Adamawa State. Mr. Speaker, with me here is a petition against wrongful dismissal from the Nigerian police by Sergeant Briska Joshua from my constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, may I have your kind permission to lay the petition? Thank you.
Please go ahead and lay the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Shaba Ibrahim. I represent Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I have here a total of 3 petitions from the National Human Rights Commission, 2 from the National Human Rights Commission against the alleged refusal of the BPE to pay contract fees. The second is from the Public Complaints Commission for request for investigative assistance in respect of some complaints received by state offices of the Public Complaints Commission directed at this House. With the kind permission of Your Excellency, may I humbly request to have these petitions presented before the House.
Go ahead and lay a petition.
Thank you, sir.
Any member who has a matter of urgent public importance to present to the House may please do so. Honorable Kalu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Benjamin Okezie-Kalu. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Ben, the federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Abia State. This morning I rise under Order 8 Rule 4 of the House Rules to move a motion of urgent national importance, seeking that this House will grant me the opportunity to move it immediately by waiving our instant rule. I so move.
Olurodo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Olorudokuk Abdulgani, representing people of Ilori East, Ilori South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I hereby second the motion ably raised by Honorable Benjamin Kalu. Assume.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Kalu.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Benjamin Okezie-Carlo, representing the good people of Nigeria, starting from then the Federal Constituency and from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this is a motion on the need to suspend the proposed recapitalization of insurance companies, insurance intermediaries, and other players in the insurance sector, especially in view of the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic recession. This motion is sponsored by me and a host of other 36 honorable members. The House recalls the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, is established by the National Insurance Commission Act 1997 to act as the primary regulator for the insurance sector. In addition, the Insurance Act 2003, particularly in Section 9, Subsection 1 and Subsection 4, empowers NICOM to prescribe minimum paid-up share capital for insurance companies and intermediaries. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House recall that NICOM issued a circular number NICOM.
Honorable Fago, go to your seat, please.
NICOM issued a circular number NICOM/DPR/CIR/25/2019 dated May 20th, 2019 on the minimum paid-up share capital requirement for insurance and reinsurance companies. This circular effectively increased the minimum paid-up share capital for insurance and reinsurance companies. The original deadline were 29 May 2019 for new companies, while 30th June 2020 was to apply to existing companies. The changes to the minimum paid-up share capital were as follows. Life insurance at 2 billion naira to 8 billion naira. General, 3 billion naira to 10 billion naira. Composite, 5 billion naira to 18 billion naira. And reinsurance, 10 billion to 20 billion naira. This was later moved to this month, especially 31st of December 2020. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House further knows that as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the deadline was moved by NICOM via circular number NICOM/DPR/CIR/25/04/2020 and dated 3rd June 2020. In the circular, Mr. Speaker, NICOM introduced a two-phase recapitalization program wherein 50% of the minimum paid-up share capital for insurance companies must be met by 31st December 2020 and 60% for reinsurance company must be met on the same date. Total compliance with the total minimum capital requirement must be achieved on or before 30th September 2021. Mr. Speaker, the House recalls that in addition to the negative economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Nigerian economy was just announced to be officially in recession. This signifies that there will be significant slowdown in economic activities and the liquidity position of both the government and businesses are seriously impacted, albeit negatively. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that in times as this, the best move by the government and by regulator is to push more liquidity into the economy in a bid to stimulate economic activities, encourage spending, and prevent job losses, as well as support the indigenous businesses in the country. This is pertinent because in addition to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the industry was also affected by the aftermath of the NSAS protests, in which several insured properties were affected, and to this effect, most of these insurance companies have tons of liabilities to settle in order to fulfill their obligations so as not to deny the rights of these affected insured persons. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes that these are the types of fiscal, monetary, and regulatory approaches that are being adopted in most countries. Hence, it may not be suitable at this time for Nikon to even proceed with its planned phase recapitalization program because of the overall impact it may have on the already fragile, very fragile economy and the insurance sector. Mr. Speaker, the House is concerned that if Nikon is allowed to proceed with this program as planned, it could negatively affect the economy and slow down the recovery process. Therefore, the House resolves to mandate the National Insurance Commission, Nikon, to suspend the planned 31st December 2020 mandatory deadline for the first phase of 50% to 60% of the minimum paid-up share capital for insurance and reinsurance companies for a minimum of 6 months from January 2021 as to cushion the effect of COVID-19 and other unforeseen circumstances on the insurance industry as stated above. And finally, the House resolves that the Insurance Committee must ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My fellow colleagues, I remain Oluwole Oke. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ijesha North. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Respected colleagues, I want to believe this is a very straightforward motion that may not require any debate, so I now put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. That is it. Motion referred to Committee on Insurance. Honorable Ajide.
I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency, Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I stand before this House this morning to request that I should move a motion under matter of urgent public importance under 8 Rule 4 and under 8 Rule 4 sub 3 to be suspended for me to take the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Yes, Honorable Osai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent Noko Kwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my fellow colleagues. I so second.
Honorable Ajide, move your motion.
given to me. My name is Jima Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency, Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter of public interest and very important. It has to do with life and needs to curb the menace of building collapse and the substandard nature of infrastructure development in Nigeria. This House notes that building collapse and the substandard nature of urban infrastructural development in Nigeria have been recurrent, embarrassing decimal and footnote in the history of Nigeria. This occurrence is regrettable when it is apparent that our nation does not lack capacity and human capital to resolve the issue. Further note that the problem once identified is on the way of being solved. Therefore, it is only solved when positive and right actions are being taken. One of such actions is the awareness of problems with appropriate diagnosis. The awareness targets all stakeholders to have an all-inclusive and all-encompassing approach to issue resolution. Aware that the solution to problem of building collapse and infrastructure failure in Nigeria include but not limited to adhering to the standard construction procedure, engaging the relevant stakeholders in the building industry from both private and public sector. Further aware that Nigeria Institute of Building, NIOB, is leading the crusade among the relevant stakeholders. The Nigeria Institute of Building is interested in promoting public safety in the development of maintenance of building in Nigeria. Disturbed that Nigeria Institute of Building, NIOB, has said that March 13 of every year has been set aside as a Builders' Day to remember the victim. I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that the death of over 20 people have been recorded in a particular place. Cognizant of the fact that the renowned legal practitioner, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and the right activist has volunteered himself to be the lawyer for anybody for all these things, convinced that this Olo Chamber will give a legislative support to the setting aside of 13 days of March every year for the commemoration of Annual Builders' Day in Nigeria. This will raise national consciousness about the construction of building that will be in conformity with international best standards and projecting our nation in good light in the Committee of the Nations. Resolved, mandate the House Committee on Urban Development and Regional Planning, Housing and Works to organize a stakeholders meeting with the relevant regulatory bodies and stakeholders in building sector with the aim of finding a lasting solution to the menace of building collapse in Nigeria. Urge the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to work alongside the Nigeria Institute of Building, NIOB, and other regulatory bodies in the building industry in Nigeria with the purpose of solving recurring problem of building collapse in this country. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Respected colleagues, seconder. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, Olumide Oshoba, I represent the industrious people of Abeokuta North, Obafemi Ode, and Oneda Federal Constituency. I'm from the Gateway to Nigeria, Ogun State. I hereby second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Olajide Jimo.
Respected colleagues, this is a very straight motion too. So I would like to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion referred to the relevant committees of the House. Honorable Akinjo, move your motion but in a breach.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my very distinguished colleague. My name is Kolade Victor Akinjo, Lajese of the Federal Constituency. I rise under the jurisdiction of our standing order to bring a matter of urgent public importance having to do with urgent intervention to rescue the people of Ayetoro community in Ilaje, LG Ondo State from the perennial and renewed vigor of sea incursion battling the community. I seek leave of my colleague to bring this matter as urgent and please suspend the relevant provisions of our standing order to move it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Yes, sir. Gagdi.
A motion.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So over Akinjo, move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleague Akinjo again. Elijah Soto.
Honorable, approach the chief. Approach the acting chief, please.
This matter is a matter that has to do with the need to rescue the people of Ayetoro community in Ilajel, AGA, Ondo State, from perennial and renewed vigor of sea incursion battling the community. The House notes that Ayetoro community, as part of coastal oil-producing communities of Ilajel, Sodofra constituency of Ondo State, has been grappling over the last 15 years with tempestuous oceanic surge, which has incessantly led to the destruction of many lives and properties in the region. The recent occurrence came with renewed vigor, devastating consequence, and generational collateral obliteration. Note that Ayetoro community, which was founded by Christian movement in 1948, within a radius of about 45 kilometers east of Lagos State, and of the same distance west of Escavos rivers of Delta State, is on the present renowned for producing sea-going vessels, speedboats, well-trained captains and marine engineers, carpentry and joinery experts, and also the first to generate electricity on its own at that period. Aware also that the Ayetoro community, aside contributing to its own quota to about 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day production made by Ondo State to the nation's oil production, is also of great historical and tourism importance, being the first community to so practice communism as at that period. Recall that aftermath the ecological disturbance experienced on Friday, May 8,
Honorable,
2020.
I refer you to rules and business. Your matter is to see the rules and business. Don't disturb the speaker, please. Yes, he wants motion to be signed there. Please.
I drew our attention sometimes in July this year, 2020, to the excruciating pains of the people of Ayetoro and its neighboring communities like Mesa, Bagira, Awoye, and others in the larger local government area of Ondo State. The hundreds of houses and properties, including schools and hospitals in these communities, have been destroyed by the ravaging sea incursion happening in these communities. Hitherto not in concrete has since been done. And concerned that with the prevailing ecological circumstances, if urgent and proactive measures are not taken, the entire Ayetoro community, with a rich historical antecedent, will not only fade into oblivion, but also render the entire larger coastline a dangerous habitation for people to call their homeland in few years to come, with a likely entrance of sea into their strategic communities. Therefore, the House resolved that the Federal Ministry of Niger Delta, the Ecological Fund Office, the Niger Delta Development Commission, NADC, the Nigerian Maritime Administration Safety Agency, NIMASA, to immediately dispatch to the team of experts to evaluate and develop immediate emergency remediation plan in Ayetoro community and other afflicted communities, and direct the Federal Minister of Humanitarian Disaster Management through NEMA to provide emergency relief materials to the victim of the surge. The House set up 7-man House delegation to visit the communities on a fact-finding mission so as to give a clearer view of the challenges of the people and commiserate with the victims of the Eastern Sword. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, further urge the oil companies operating in the region to assist the communities to build up adequate infrastructures and destroyed by the surge with capacity to cope with tilting environmental challenges of the geography in the nearest future. Mandate all relevant committee of the House to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleague.
Yes, Adamawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kwamoti Bitrus Laori, representing Numan Diamsa Lamude Federal Constituency from Adama State. I second the motion as moved by Honorable Akinjo. I so second.
Respected colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. That's have it. Motion referred to the relevant committees of the House. Respected colleagues, the business of the day is presentation of a report on the Committee on Internally Displaced Persons and Refugees on the situation of the internally displaced persons and refugees in the internally displaced person camps across the country. Standing in Honorable Mohammed Umar Jega, Honorable Jega is invited to present the report.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Jega is on the floor. I move that the consideration of the report be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Report stepped down by the leave of the House. The first order of the day is consideration of two bills, consolidation of two bills. Honorable members may recall that, may note that the bills are the same subject matter and now invite the Chairman Committee on Rules and Business to move that the bills be consolidated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Abubakar Safulata. I represent Berniwa, Krika Sama, with the Federal Consortium. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move for consideration as one, a bill for an act to amend the Pension Reforms Act 2014 to compel every licensed pension fund administrator to have an operational office in at least one state in each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation for easy access and effective service delivery. Grant.
Honorable Bago, go back to your seat. Honorable Bago.
Grant quicker access to more funds from the required savings account of pensioners after retirement, while prescribing stiffer punishment for contravention of the bill, to include accrual of interest on investment
Honorable Bago, approach the acting chief with, please. Please, you can greet the DS in his office, please. Go back to your seat. Thank you.
Insurance cover and placing responsibility of paying the pension contribution of members of the Nigerian Police Force under the contributory pension scheme of the federal government of Nigeria, and to provide for punctual funding of employees' retirement savings account as first-line charge by employers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and grant employees unfettered access to their retirement savings account, and for related matters, HB 208-386-392-562 and 620. And B, a bill for an act to amend sections 1C, 72, sections 1C, 7 subsection 2, 8 subsection 1, 1824-99 of the Pension Reforms Act, Chapter P50, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2014, by providing that a pensioner shall receive at least 75% of his retirement benefits immediately upon retirement, and criminalize the undue delay in the payment of pensions and for related matters, HB 1008. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Maki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I'm Abubakar Maki Eleman. I'm from Jigawa State. I represent Madam Modori Kaugama Federal Constituency. I raise to second the motion heavily moved by my senior colleague, Honorable Flatter. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, Committee of Rules and Business, please schedule a date for the commencement of the debate on the general principle of the bill. The second order of the day, respected colleagues, the commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Health Insurance Development Bank to enhance and promote the health and well-being of Nigerians, to boost local healthcare capacity and related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Mansur Manusoro and Honorable Femi Bajami. Honorable members recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 2nd July 2020, and I invite Honorable Mansur Manusoro to move the bill be read the second time.
Honorable Fago and Co., please stop that meeting. Concentrate, or you go outside and do your meeting, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I rise to move that a bill for an act to establish. My name is Honorable Mansur Manusoro. I represent Darazu Ganjwa Federal Constituency. I'm from Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank to enhance and promote the health and well-being of Nigerians, to boost local healthcare capacity, and for related matters, be read the second time. I so move.
It's Conda. Yes, Rivers.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and my very distinguished colleagues. I am Uchuchukwu Namobi, and I represent the good people of Ahode West and Oba Ibema and Doni Federal Constituency. I rise to second the bill as moved by Honorable Manu. I still second.
Honorable Masul, lead the debate.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Mansur Manu Soro. I speak for the good people of Darazu Ganjwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, the economic productivity of any given nation is determined by the state of their well-being, which, of course, is defined by the extent of health infrastructure that such a nation can possess. Mr. Speaker, the right to health is directly linked to the right to life. And the easiest way of denying a person of his right to life is to deny him access to quality healthcare services. Nigeria has spent the last 60 years.
Chairman, privatization. Approach the acting chief whip, please. Chairman, privatization. Your attention is needed here.
Of its independence, battling with poor maternal and child health indicators, However, the inception of the COVID-19 pandemic was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed our weakness as a nation and brought to fore the infrastructural deficit prevalent in the Nigerian health sector. There is a general consensus among policy analysts that the budgetary provisions from the public sector alone cannot address the existing infrastructural gaps in the health sector. Therefore, the government must think out of the box in providing the required enabling environment for the private sector to come in. To buttress this point, Mr. Speaker, the budgetary allocation to health sector as proposed by the executive in the 2021 appropriation bill is put at 546 billion naira, which represents a mere 4.1% of the total budget size. In the context of the Abuja Declaration, which require member countries to allocate a minimum of 15% of their total budget to the health sector, Nigeria will be underfunding the health sector in the 2020 fiscal year by 1.4 trillion naira. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, in December 2019, the Association of the Nigerian Resident Doctors, relying on the outcome of a survey, declared that more than 500 Nigerians are defecting Nigeria on monthly basis in search of better health services. And in the course of doing that, they are spending not less than $1 billion annually, which is equivalent of 400 billion naira, in countries that has better health infrastructure. Countries like India, like UK, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, to mention but a few. It is against this background that a bill seeking to establish the Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank is drafted and presented before this Honorable House. The bank, when established, will provide a single-digit capital for the development of the health sector beyond budgetary appropriations. The share capital of the bank will be subscribed to by the federal government of Nigeria through the Federal Ministry of Finance, regional and international banks. Mr. Speaker, it is on this note that I wish to appreciate the commitment of the Right Honorable Speaker, Femi Bajabiamila, for his relentless commitment to the development of the Nigerian health sector and for signifying interest to serve as co-sponsor of this most important bill. Finally, I wish to urge my colleagues to support this most important bill and ensure it is timely passage. I so submit.
I don't know. I thought it's a very straightforward bill, and I will beg that we'll put the question down. Those in favor that the bill be read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. That's have it. Bill referred to committees on health institutions. Clerk is invited to read the text of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank to enhance and promote the health and well-being of Nigerians, to boost local healthcare capacity and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Health Institutions. Respected colleagues, the third order of the day is a commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to provide the legal framework for the financial and administrative independence of the state judiciary, to establish the state judicial council, which shall be responsible for the appointment, promotion, and discipline of judicial officers in the state courts and judicial bodies, and disburse money standing to the credit of the state judiciary or money appropriated to the state judiciary in the consolidated revenue fund of the state and for related matters. Standing now, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin. All members will call that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 29 September 2020. I now invite Honorable Tajuddin to move the bill be read the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. I represent Zaria Federal Constituency. I'm from Kaduna State. It's my pleasure to present a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to provide the legal framework for the financial and administrative independence of state judiciary, to establish state judicial councils, which shall be responsible for the appointment, promotion, and discipline of judicial officers in states, courts, and judicial bodies, and disburse money money standing to the credit of the state judiciary or money appropriated to the state judiciary in the consolidated revenue fund of the state and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Jega.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I am Mohammed Umar Jega, representing Aleru Gondu Jega Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second. Thank you.
Tajuddin, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. The Nigerian judiciary comprises of the courts established by the Constitution for the Federation and for the 36 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And this is embedded in Section 6 of Section 5 of the Constitution as amended. And it has listed the following courts: the Supreme Court of Nigeria, the Court of Appeal, the Federal High Court, the Federal High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the National Industrial Court, a High Court of a state, the Sharia Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, a Sharia Court of Appeal of a state, a Customary Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, a Customary Court of Appeal of a state. The states of the Federation, including FCT, may by law establish such other courts with powers to exercise jurisdiction at first instance or on appeal on matters with respect to which a House of Assembly may make laws. Accordingly, every state in the Federation has established lower courts, i.e. magistrate courts, area courts, Sharia courts, etc. Apart from the court, the Constitution established some judicial bodies for the Federation and the 36 states, including Abuja. These judicial bodies are the National Judicial Council, the Federal Judicial Service Commission for the Federation, and the Judicial Service Commission for the states. The main objective of this bill is seeking to amend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to, among others, to restructure the administrative structure of the judiciary with a view to ensuring that courts and judicial bodies established by the Constitution for the states are independent from any control, be it at federal or at state level. The main reasons why this bill is very imperative and important to be considered at the next constitutional amendments are as follows. One, it is noted that there is a lack of constitutional mechanism or structure to sustain financial autonomy of state judiciaries. The Constitution, as amended, contains express provisions guaranteeing the independence of the federal judiciary and the state judiciaries. However, while there are constitutional mechanisms or structures like the establishment of the National Judicial Council, Consolidated Revenue Fund for the Federation, independent legislative arm, that's the National Assembly, to ensure compliance at the federal level, the same cannot be said of the states. There are no corresponding mechanisms or structures in the states to safeguard the independence of state judiciary. Because of this void, the chief judge of each state goes cap in hand annually begging the state governors to fund the judiciary. Sometimes the release of the budgetary allocation of the state judiciary is at the whims and caprices of the state governors. Another reason why it is imperative for this amendment is to rectify the existing uniform structure of the judiciary in Nigeria, which has been seen by many experts as an aberration. Nigeria is a federal state which comprises of the federal government and the 36 governments, including the federal capital territory, Abuja. Despite the fact that Nigeria is a federation, the judiciary seems to be maintaining a uniform administrative structure headed by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria doubles as the Chief Justice of Nigeria as well. In addition, he serves as the chairman of the National Judicial Council, Federal Judicial Service Commission, and the National Judicial Institute. These positions occupied by the Chief Justice of Nigeria conferred him with enormous authority, and which creates the impression that the chief judges of the state, including the Federal Capital Territory Abuja, are his subjects. Ideally, in the federation, the federal government should have its own hierarchy of courts which shall enforce federal laws, and the state government shall have their own hierarchy of courts which shall enforce state laws.
We thank you very much for very elaborate. So,
in summary, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the federal government strongly believes in strengthening the autonomy of state judiciaries. The people of Nigeria share the same belief. That is why the 2014 Constitutional Conference recommended the amendment of the Constitution to grant full autonomy to state judiciaries. This is also supported by the APC constituted Governor Nasir El-Rufai-led Constitutional Reform Committee, which also recommended the strengthening of the autonomy of state judiciaries by the alteration of the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, it's my humble wish to use this opportunity to appeal to you all to support this bill. Thank you so much.
The question is that those in favor that the bill raise content say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Hafiz, Honorable Yakudima, please go to your seat. Honorable Hafiz.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended to provide a legal framework for the financial and administrative independence of states' judiciary, to establish states' judicial councils which shall be responsible for the appointment, promotion, and discipline of judicial officers in state courts and judicial bodies, and disburse money standing to the credit of the state's judiciary or money appropriated to the state judiciary in the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the states, and for related matters. Second reading.
bill referred to the Special Ad hoc Committee on Constitutional Review, 1999 Constitutional Review. Respected colleagues, the third order of the day is commencement of a debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control Act, CAP, N1 Laws of Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to capture other forms of packaged water other than in bottles, encourage cooperation with the relevant agencies in carrying out its functions, introduce the coordination of clinical trials and some new offenses, and increase penalties for commission of offenses under the bill, and to provide for payment of all monies received by the agency into the Federation account in accordance with Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal of Nigeria, 1999, as an affiliated matters. Standing now, Honorable Yusuf Tanko Sonunu, Honorable Dachum Musa Bagos, and Honorable Pascal Obi. All members will call the bill was consolidated on Thursday, 3rd December 2020. I now invite Honorable Sonunu to move the bill the second time.
This bill along with Honorable Musa Bogos. What about Bogos? Is Bogos around? Then Pascal Obi. Mr. Speaker, I move that the second reading of the bill be stepped down by the leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Bill stepped down by the leader of the House. Respected colleagues, the fifth order of the day is a commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the National Hydrographic Agency to carry out hydrographic and oceanographic surveys, including ocean meteorology for national offense and civil requirements and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Yusuf Adamugagdi, all members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 28 October 2020. I now invite Honorable Gagdi to move that the bill be read second time.
Mr. Speaker, I represent Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to establish the National Hydrographic Agency to carry out hydrographic and oceanic surveys, including ocean meteorology for national offense and civil requirements, and for related matters, standing in my name, be read for second time. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Seconder. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, highly respected colleagues, my name is Rep. Otumba Adewumi Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikene, Shagamu, Remo North. I am from Ogun State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Gagdi. I so second.
Honorable Gagdi, lead the debate.
Honorable members, once more I'm Yusuf Adamugagdi. I represent Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, the bill for an act to establish the National Hydrographic Agency and for related matters permit me to lead the debate on this general principle in a very brief perspective. My respected colleagues, This is a very straightforward piece of legislation that seeks to establish the National Hydrographic Agency and to provide for legal framework to carry out hydrographic and oceanic surveys, including ocean meteorology for national security and civil requirement, and to fulfill an international hydrographic treaties, convention, and protocols accepted by Nigerian government. Mr. Speaker, respected colleague, the objective of the agencies are briefly summarized as follows. Hydrographic and oceanic survey, including ocean meteorology and national defense and civil requirement, to fulfill all international hydrographic treaty, conventions, and other protocols signed by Nigerian government. C, to carry out a commercial hydrography and other maritime survey for economic diversification and revenue generation for the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. D, to provide maritime safety information, notices to mariners, and nautical publication for the safety of seafarers in line with IMO Safety of Lives and Sea Convention. E, represent Nigeria in all international hydrographic matters. F, provide provision of official nautical charts and publication, ceilings, directions, list of lights, notice to mariners, tides table, and other nautical publication where applicable, satisfying the need for safety navigation within Nigerian water and the sub-region in general. D, planning, acquisition, and maintenance of survey platform, including surface, subsurface, air survey platform that form part of the National Hydrographic Survey fleet. There are so many numerous advantages of this bill if allowed to pass into law by the National Assembly. There is equally economic benefit of hydrography. But, Mr. Speaker, hydrography involves surveying and mapping of river, lakes, and ocean, which give us information about what sea flow is all about. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, if you allow this bill to pass, all the security threat within our waterways is going to reduce to the barest minimum. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, in view of the efforts currently being made by the 9th House of Representatives in collaborating with Federal Government of Nigeria to diversify the economy and to ensure safety of our waterways, the need to establish the National Hydrographic Agency cannot be overemphasized. I therefore urge my respected colleagues to support this bill to be read for the second time for the purpose of achieving security in our waterways. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The question now, those in favor that the bill be read second time, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. That's have it. So, sorry, clerk is invited to look the title of the bill.
Honorable Salami. Honorable Salami, please.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish the National Hydrographic Agency to carry out hydrographic and oceanographic surveys, including ocean meteorology for national offense and civil requirements, and for related matters. Second reading.
Referred to Committee on Navy. Respected colleagues, order of the day is a motion on need to address the physical and infrastructure deficit in the Northeast Zone, standing in the name of Honorable Zainab Gimba and 46 others. Honorable Member Gimba is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Zainab Gimba. I represent Bamangala Kalabelge Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Borno State. Mr. Speaker, I stand to move the motion for the need to address the fiscal and infrastructural deficit in the Northeast by the federal government. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
You are supposed to read the entirety of your body, of your motion. It's not a bill, so you go through the entire. Thank you.
First and foremost, I would like to make some corrections on the names. There is a correction on, instead of Honorable Aminu, it is supposed to be Honorable Megaribello, and instead of Honorable Abdul Qadir, it's supposed to be Honorable Ribado, and Honorable Madaki Gololo and not Garba Gololo, and equally Honorable Awal Jato and not Honorable Tata. And also the correction on Honorable Bukar Abba instead of Honorable Khadija Bukar Abba instead of Honorable Bukar Abba, and Honorable Bello Usman Kumo also is part of the sponsors. Mr. Speaker, the House knows that the security challenges that have been ravaging the Northeast in the last 10 years, which has weakened the economy and other sectors in the region. Also knows that the activities of Boko Haram, kidnappers, cattle rustlers, and other criminal elements continue to pose serious stress to the socio-economic stability of the region, precipitating poverty, high mortality, and other humanitarian crises. It is evident that insurgency has claimed loss of lives, aggravated the food and nutrition insecurity, damaged infrastructures for roads, health and education sectors, and others that requires an intensive plan. Aware of the role of development planning in addressing the obvious infrastructural deficit in the Northeast imposed by the insurgents' destructive activities. Also aware that the role of fiscal policy, which is predominantly a budgetary activity, refers to the government adjustments on spending levels and tax rates to monitor and influence a nation's economic infrastructure inclusive. Observe that despite the deepening infrastructure deficit faced in the Northeast, the federal government of Nigeria 2021 budget proposal proposed the sum of 45.32 billion naira in the 2021 budget estimate for capital projects in the Northeast, representing only 0.35% of the 13.02 trillion naira proposed. Worried that the 0.35% allocated for capital projects to the zone is grossly inadequate, undermining and constitute a grave setback to the quest of the people for decent living standards. Upheld that the provisions for road infrastructure by the Ministry of Works and Housing is either delayed, slow, or non-existent, calling for thorough rejig on road development plan in the Northeast. Disturbed by the complete absence of budgetary provisions for Mambila Hydro power project meant to stabilize power supply in the 2021 budget proposal before the National Assembly. Alarmed at the absence of consultation with core stakeholders and beneficiaries before projects are proposed and implemented, imposing a gap that undermines the impacts of such projects. Confounded that the sharing of 2.3 trillion naira post-COVID-19 economic stimulus for states, though appreciated, remains unfair in view of socio-economic challenges confronting the Northeast. Perplexed that funds allocated for afforestation and other climate-targeted projects in the Northeast sub-region and Northwest parts of Nigeria are either unimplemented, partially implemented, or poorly implemented. Cognizance of the need for a thorough and deliberate planning, as well as improved funding of infrastructural gaps in the Northeast due to insurgency. Resolves to mandate the Committee on Appropriations to review upward the 2021 budget proposal allocated to capital projects in the Northeast. Urge the federal ministries, departments, and agencies to consult and collaborate with the states in the Northeast sub-region before citing capital projects. Mandate the Committee on Finance to look into the sharing structure of COVID-19 intervention fund. And finally, mandate the Committee on Climate Change to also look into the implementation of climate-targeted projects. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so much.
Seconder. Shetima.
Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Lawan Shetima Ali, representing the good people of Budusari, Gaidam, Inusari Payroll Constituency, and from Yobe State, sir. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Dr. Zainab Gimba. I so second, sir.
This is an infrastructure-related motion, so we're not going to debate it. Okay. But there's an amendment from Honorable Indidu Imelilu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Dodi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. My amendment is to the effect that, prayer one is talking about us consulting states. We don't consult states on issue of budgeting. That's one. Then two is for us to also mandate House Committee on Appropriation on increasing the infrastructural capital vote. So my amendment is to the effect that we delete prayer 1 and 2, then seek for House Committee on Finance and Appropriation to interface with Ministry of Finance and Budget Planning to see how they can enhance the provision of Northeast Development Commission on through service-wide vote, because that is where they have their allocation. So if they can interface with Minister of Finance and enhance the capital allocation of Northeast Development Commission, I so move. Okay, interface that Minister of Finance, Appropriation, and Northeast Development Commission to interface with Ministry of Finance and budget planning to see how they can enhance the provision of Northeast Development Commission under service-wide vote. I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Gagdi.
Represent Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency. I'm from Plateau State. I rise.
Minority leader. Minority leader, thank you. He will soon join us, don't worry. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Khadija.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Khadija Waziri Bukar Ibrahim. I represent Damaturu Tarmua Gujibagulani Federal Constituency of Yobe State. My amendment is, as part of the prayer, there should be mandate the NEDC to intervene and also increase the budget of the NEDC because presently their budget is grossly inadequate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Yes, sir.
I represent Apapa Federal Constituency. I stand to second the amendment as amended by Honorable Khadijat. I so amend. I so second.
Honorable Khadija, it's like your amendment is the same with that of. That was. Thank you. So, matter solved. Those in favor of the motion as amended say aye. Those against say nay. That's have it. Motion referred to the relevant committees of the House. Respected colleagues, the eighth order of the day is a motion on need to reconstruct the Kasina Ala Abaji Todonga Hanga Harga Gawa Takum Road. 7? I thought we were past that one. The seventh order of the day is a motion on call for the rehabilitation of and construction of the collapsed bridge in Tunga Madaki Community, Jiwa Ward of Abuja Municipal Area Council, standing in no Honorable Micah Yohana Jiba. Honorable Jiba is invited to move the motion. I suppose Mr. Jiba is briefed. I don't think he's on the floor. We forgot to announce the demise of his wife. Thank you. Motion stepped down by the leave of the House. Respected colleagues, the eighth order of the day is a motion on need to reconstruct the Kasina Ala Abajit Todonga Hangagawa Takum Road, standing now Honorable Richard Obende. Honorable Obende is invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Richard Bandi. I have the mandate of the people of Kasinala, Okun, Logo Federal Constituency. I'm from Benue State. I need to reconstruct the Kasinala, Abaji, Todunga, Haga, Gawa, Takum Road. The House knows that Kasinala, Todunga, Haga, Gawa, Takum Road is a truncated federal road cutting across major towns in Benue State to Taraba State. Also knows that the road was first constructed in the early 1980s during the administration of President Shehu Shagari. I read that the road is the only route through the Kasinala and Takum axis, covering a major farming population of Taraba and Benue states. In Kasinala, Takum, Dunga, and Usa local government areas across the two states. Also, I read that the Gawa Takum section of the road, covering about 16 kilometers along the Taraba axis, was rehabilitated by the Federal Ministry of Works in 2015, leaving all the 53-kilometer road covering Haga, Todunga, Abaji, Kasinala axis in Benue State. Concerned that the partial rehabilitation of the road has not yielded much impact as commuters go through a lot of difficulty on the longer 53-kilometer section of the road, which is in a state of total disrepair. Also concerned that the road, which was constructed in the early 1980s and had never been rehabilitated, has now collapsed and most parts nearly impassable. Worried that due to the dilapidated condition of the road, criminal elements have taken advantage to unleash mayhem on the inhabitants of the surrounding areas and usurping the commuters. Also worried that due to the prolonged activities of criminals in the area, farmers in Haga, Todunga, Sai, Abaji, Kasinala have been displaced as their farms have been taken over by bandits. Cognizance of the economic and social importance of the Kasinala, Abaji, Todunga, Haga, Gawa, Takum Federal Road, Taraba, and Benue states, resolved that all the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to make provision for the reconstruction of the Kasinala, Abaji, Todunga, Haga axis of the road in the 2021 supplementary budget proposal. Two, also, all the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development to provide relief materials for the displaced population in the affected communities around the road and ensure that they return to their homes. 3, mandate the Committee on Works, Appropriation, and Women Affairs and Social Development to ensure compliance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Mazi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Okudele Christopher Ezawankwo. By the special grace of God, I have the mandate of good people of Onuma North and South Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, for Anambra State. I like to support the motion moved by Honorable Richard. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor, it is an infrastructure motion, so I put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. That's have it. Motion referred to 11 committees of the House. Respected colleagues, the ninth order of the day is a motion on need to tackle the incessant killings, kidnappings, banditry, and armed robbery in Dusema, Kulfila Hugome constituency of Katsina State. Standing there, Honorable Armaya Abdulkader. Honorable Abdulkader is invited into the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Armaya Abdulkader. I represent Dusama Kurfi Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. Need to tackle incessant killings, kidnapping, banditry, and armed robbery in Dusama Kurfi Federal Constituency of Katsina State. The House notes the ongoing attacks on Sanawa, Kwari Mezurfi, Wakaji, Gago, Unguwar Bera, Dogorwa, Kurecin Dutse, Ruwan Ɗorowa, and Muri villages of Dusama local government area, and Kudewa, Lambo, Pando Gari, Gwanzo, Tabakawa, Karki, Rumfa, Baganau, Tashar Barua, Sarkadi, Takyambu, Daram, Garin Minister, Kurpi Town, and Erranda in Kurpi local government area of Katsina State by armed robbers, kidnappers, and cattle rustlers, resulting in loss of lives, properties, and farm produce worth millions of naira. Also notes that the magnitude of attacks on residents of the area has reached an alarming stage, as the perpetrators of the criminal acts have continued to perpetrate similar acts in various communities within the constituency, including the killing of men, women, children, while many people are now refugees, having been displaced from their homes due to the onslaught by the armed bandits. Also worried that any further delay by the federal government in curtailing the ongoing atrocities will result in colossal loss of lives, properties, and farmlands, and also paralyze the economic and commercial activities of the area. Cognizant that the fundamental duty of any government is the protection and preservation of lives and properties of its citizens by being responsive in curtailing attacks on them. The results: 1. Urge the federal government to direct security operatives to immediately crack down on the rampaging criminals attacking Dus and Makurfi Federal Constituency. 2. Also urge Federal Ministry of Defense to station a military base in Marke at Makera ward of Dus and local government areas, as well as provide one armored personnel carrier, APC, for Dus and local government area. 3rd, further urge National Refugee Commission to set up an IDP camps in Dus and Kurfi, local government areas of Katsina State. 4, again urge the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to urgently provide relief materials for the internally displaced persons. 5, mandate the Committee on Internally Displaced Persons, IDPs, and refugees to ensure implementation. 6, observe a minute silence in honor of all those who lost their lives due to this heinous act. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Abdulkadir, the 6th prayer, is it an amendment?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm
Seconder? Yes, sir.
Honorable colleagues, I'm Honorable Salisira Isansi, member representing Katsina Central Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. I rise second the motion heavily moved by Honorable Armayau. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Armayau, in 2 minutes, give us the debate. 2 minutes. Question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We'll take the 2 minutes, 1 minute prayer at the end of the proceedings of today. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the 10th order of the day is a motion on call to investigate the process of digital broadcast switch in Nigeria. Standing Honorable Olubemi Oleshegun Odoku is invited in the motion.
Speaker, honorable colleagues, Odebo Meshegun is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere Ogolua Federal Constituency. I'm from Oyo State, Mr. Speaker. I rise this afternoon to call for investigation process of digital broadcast. Recall that on 16th of November 2017, considered and adopted the report of ad hoc committee that investigated the process of digital broadcast switch over in Nigeria. The House notes that the report made recommendations on digital broadcast in Nigeria, which, if implemented, will strengthen digital broadcasting policy in the country. Aware that the report was adopted by the 8 assemblies and the resolution was not implemented, at the time the 8th Assembly winded up. Appreciate the importance of having the recommendations and implemented for prosperity. Hence, the need for the 9th Assembly to revisit the matter. Resolved to mandate the Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Value to investigate the process of digital broadcast switchover in Nigeria and report back to the House within 8 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Fellow colleagues, Esconda. Yes, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Bede Uchenna Eke. Oh, sorry, thank you. I represent the good people of Abombise, Ngobalo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Odebumi. I so second. Thank you.
Respected colleagues, this is an investigative motion, so I put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. That's have it. Motion referred to the relevant committee of the House. Respected colleagues, the 11th order of the day is a motion on need to review the purchase, use and control of arms, ammunition and related matters, hardware by military, paramilitary and other law enforcement agencies in Nigeria, signing the name Honorable Ibrahim Al-Mustafa Aliyu and one other honorable member. Honorable Aliyu is invited to move the motion.
Much, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I'm Ibrahim Al-Mustafa Aliyu, member representing Wurno-Raba from Sokoto State. I rise to move the motion for the need to review the purchase, use and control of arms, ammunition and related hardware by military, paramilitary and other law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. I want the House to note that there has been an increase in the deployment of officers of the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Nigeria Immigration Service, the Nigeria Customs Service, the Nigerian Correctional Service to perform internal security functions, often at variance with the core competence, training, and mandate. Also know that with the increase in number of armed deployment in response to the multifaceted internet security challenges across the country, which are all aware, there has also been a significant increase in the demand for arms, ammunition, and related hardware by the various paramilitary forces in the country. Concerned that with the rise in deployment of armed paramilitary officers across the country, there has been a commensurate surge in incidents of interactions between the armed personnel and citizens resulted in injury, death, and several allegations of diverse misconduct and abuse. Also concerned, honorable colleagues, that there are no standard guidelines across the various paramilitary agencies for the training of officers in proper gun use, management, and safety, with the effect that too many of the armed officers interacting with citizens do not have the right training, thus endangering the people they are meant to protect. Further concerned that the absence of structured training standard has created an environment where clashes between security personnel and the civilian populace will continue to occur with the attendant consequences and a complete loss of confidence by citizens in the ability of the government to protect the welfare and well-being of its citizens. Worried that the federal government has continued to appropriate huge sum of money to meet the increasing demand for arms, which does not necessarily meet the peculiar security demands of Nigeria and the specific mandates of the different agencies. Also worried, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, that the federal government has continued to appropriate, also worried that there are no proper protocols in place to ensure that arms, ammunition, and related hardware that are being purchased are properly documented, as the procedure for armory management and control across the security agencies are still based on outdated practices. Alarmed that the absence of effective armory control feed into culture of recklessness regarding the use of weapons and raises the disturbing possibility that arms and ammunition purchased by the state will end up in the hands of criminals who will use them to commit acts of violence against citizens. A good example has just been a motion raised by Army of the bandits. So, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues, I went to this Honorable House to resolve that, to urge the federal government to review the policies, protocols, and procedure for the purchase of arms, ammunition, and related hardware by the Nigeria Army, Nigeria Navy, Nigeria Air Force, Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs Service, Nigeria Correctional Service in the last 10 years. Also urge the federal government to review the guidelines and system for training officers of the Nigeria Army, the Nigeria Navy, Air Force, Police, Civil Defense, Immigration, Correctional Service, and the Nigeria Customs in the last 10 years. And also further urge the federal government to appraise the armory and weapons control mechanism currently being implemented by the Nigeria Army, Nigeria Navy, Air Force, Police Force, Nigeria Security Civil Defense Corps, Immigration and Customs in the last 10 years. Four, that the Honorable House do resolve to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the quality and quantity of arms purchased by the Nigeria Army, Nigeria Navy, Nigeria Air Force, Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Civil Defense Corps, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs, and the Nigeria Correctional Service in the last 10 years and report back within 8 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Former Chairman, Air Force.
I am Honorable Samson Lofu, member representing Odu of the Federal Constituency and from Benue State. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by my friend and colleague. So second.
Respected colleagues, this is a security-related motion, and so I would like to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. I know. Respected colleagues, the third order of the day is the consideration of the report of the Committee on the Federal Capital Territory on a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Certain Revenue Fund and the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 199,240,531,350 naira only, of which the sum of 63,620,646,865 naira only is for the personal cost, and for the sum of 55,393,961,885 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 80,225,923,400 naira only is for the capital project for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing 1st January and ending when the 2021 FCT Statutory Appropriation Act comes into effect. One member will recall that the report was laid on the 31st December 2020. Honorable Abdullah Idris Garba is to move the consideration of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Abdullah Idris Garba, Jagabon Kontogora, member representing Kontogora, Mariga Mushubu Shishi of Niger State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the 2020 budget proposal before us for consideration today are revised estimates of the cutoff for the emergency procurement undertaken because of the outbreak of the COVID-19. The provisions have been reduced and proposals channeled to afford the Federal Capital Territory.
Honorable Kontogora, you have to move for the consideration now. Thank you. Move for the motion for the consideration.
Jagabon Kontogora, I move for the motion for the 2020 revised budget of the FCT Federal Capital Territory. I so move. May I move the House to consider the 2020 budget reversal of the FCT Federal Capital? That the House consider the report of the Committee of the Federal Capital Territory on a bill for an act to authorize the issue of the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund or the Federal Capital Administration account. The total sum of 199,240,531 naira 350 kobo. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, the total sum of 199,240,531 naira 350 kobo naira. That for that's 63,646 naira 865 kobo. For 668 kobo, that only is for the personnel, and the sum of 53,993 naira 961 naira 85 kobo for the overhead cost, while the balance of 80,225,923,400 for the capital project of the services for the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing January, ending when the 2021 FCT Statutory Appropriation Act comes into effect of Committee of Supply. I so move.
Seconder. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Mudalawa Al-Bumar. I represent Toro Federal Constituency from Bauchi State. I rise to second the motion moved by my honorable colleague for the consideration of the report on FCT budget. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Yes, Deputy Whip, move that the House dissolve the Committee of Supply to consider the report.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Kiru Kaunye George. I represent the good people of Usukwatu Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do resolve into Committee of Supply to consider the report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anocho Shumili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. I rise to second the motion that we do resolve to Committee of Supply so as we can consider this report. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The House will hereby resolve to Committee of Supply to consider the report. Honorable Lai, give us a synopsis of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable colleagues. I remain Abdullah Idris Garba, member representing Kontogora, Mariga Moshebu, Shisho of Niger State. Mr. Chairman, honorable members, the 2020 budget proposals before us for consideration today are revised estimates to the Carter for emergency procurement undertaking before the outbreak of COVID-19. The provisions have been reduced and proposals channeled to afford the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, to pay for services in health, engineering, environmental for this financial year. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I urge you to support the consideration and passage into law of this bill to enable FCTA to pay its outstanding liabilities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, honorable colleagues.
Respected colleagues, personnel costs. First schedule. Personnel costs 761,339,125 naira. Overhead costs 3,146,825 million. Overhead cost subtotal 3,908,164,125,000. Protocol Department. Personnel cost 49,568,999,000. 953,040,395 naira. Subtotal 1,2,609,394 naira. Security Service Department. Personnel cost 64,792,906 naira. 1,105,238,045,000. Cost subtotal 1,170,030,951 naira. Personnel cost 3,258,891 naira. Overhead cost 4,059,272,832 naira. Economic planning. Personnel cost 180,996,750 naira. 72,125,500 naira. Subtotal 253,102,250 naira. Management and Training Department. Personnel cost 247,987,935 naira. Overhead cost 1,045,812 naira 500 naira. Subtotal 1,293,800 naira 435 naira. City Audit Department. Personnel cost 86,228,108 naira. Overhead cost 361,055 naira 265 naira. Subtotal 447,283 naira 1,373 naira. Department of Monitoring and Inspection. Personnel cost 139,378,410 naira. 82,180,168 naira. 121,558,578 naira. Land Administration Department. Personnel cost 208,948,943 naira. Overhead cost 280,562,750 naira. Subtotal 489,511 naira 693,000 naira. Sorry. Got it? FCT Procurement Department. Personnel cost 108,401,863 naira. 603,500,000 naira. Subtotal 711,901,863 naira. Director of Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board. Personnel cost 139,303,114 naira. 303,114 naira. Got it? Overhead costs 735,289,400 naira. 873,592,514 naira. Of Christian Pilgrims Welfare Board, 66,133,841 naira. Overhead costs 398,090,533 naira. 464,224,374 naira. FCT Pension Department, personnel costs 63,318,567 naira. Got it? Cost 3,613,239 naira, 1,727 naira. Subtotal 3,678,558 naira, 2,294 naira. FCT Archives and Historical Bureau, personnel costs 91,266,434 naira. Overhead costs 32,592,000 naira. Subtotal 123,858,434 naira. FCT Urban and Regional Planning Tribunal, personnel cost 97,523,597 naira. Cost 34,571,750 naira. Total 132,095,347 naira. Department of Outdoor Advertisement and Synergies. Personnel costs 125,007,384 naira. Overhead costs 222,109,851 naira. Subtotal 347,117,235 naira. Of Information and Communication. Personnel costs 75,971,672 naira. Got it? Head cost 309,954,305 naira. Total 385,925,977 naira. Got it? FCT administration. FCDA administration, sorry. Personnel costs 13,315,913 naira. Got it? Head cost 25,089,145 naira. Got it? 38,405,058 naira. Got it? Finance and Administration 627,735,292 naira. Got it? And overhead costs 111,989,572 naira. Got it? 739,724,864 naira. Got it? Plenary services, personnel costs 743,780,760 777 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 5 million. Carried. 748,780,777 naira. Carried. Public building personnel cost 534 million, 181 naira, 959 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 4,196,726 naira. Carried. The Settlement and Compensation Department personnel cost 247,131 naira, 159 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 9,021,533 naira. Carried. Subtotal 256,152,694 naira. Carried. Urban and regional planning personnel cost 240,148,900 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 23,519,062 naira. Carried. Subtotal 263,667,962 naira. Carried. Survey and mapping personnel cost 371,241,643 naira. Carried. It cost 14,910,000 naira only. Carried. Total 389,151,643 naira. Carried. Mass Housing Department personnel cost 44,589,996 naira. Carried. Cost 9,489,942 naira. Carried. 4,074,937 naira. Carried. FCD personnel procurement department. FCDA procurement department personnel cost 87,608,002 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 37,377,615 naira. Carried. Subtotal 124,985,617 naira. Carried. FCDA internal audit personnel cost 30,762,919 naira. Carried. Cost 2,779,419 naira. Carried. 50 naira. Carried. Subtotal 33,542,369 naira. Carried. Public relations personnel cost 54,084,829 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 4,517,500 naira. Carried. Total 58,602,329 naira. Carried. Personnel cost 147,134,904 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 1,704,900 naira. Carried. 148,839,804 naira. Carried. Legal Secretariat personnel cost 431,144,328 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 351,706 naira 258 naira carried. 782,850,585 naira carried. Council Secretariat, personnel cost 76,407,375 naira carried. Head cost 678,850 naira carried. Sub 255,257,375 naira carried. ACSS Inspectorate Planning and Monitoring, personnel cost 27,549,501 naira carried. 57,750,000 naira carried. 85,299,501 naira carried. Chieftaincy and Community Development, personnel cost 199,815,037 naira carried. 61,250,000 naira carried. 61,065 naira 37 naira carried. 65,037 naira carried. ACSS Primary Healthcare Development Department, personnel cost 37,670,643 naira carried. 32,203,465 naira carried. Subtotal 69,874,108 naira carried. Amendment. Today. ACS Planning Research and Statistics, personnel cost 26,356,794 carried. Overhead cost 32,975,394 naira carried. 59,332 naira 188 naira carried. Area Council Service Commission, personnel cost 190,394,551 naira carried. Overhead cost 23,475,000 naira carried. 213,869,551 naira carried. FCT Area Council Staff Pension Board, personnel cost 82,624,095 naira only carried. 514,813,091 naira carried. Total 597,437,186 naira carried. Office of the Auditor General for FCT Area Councils, personnel cost 189,775,798 naira carried. 118,045,553 naira carried. 307,821,351 naira carried. Transport Secretariat, personnel cost 155,432,584 naira carried. Overhead cost 25,225,000 naira only carried. 180,657,584 naira carried. You see? Bus rapid transit road traffic service 1,098,825,281 naira carried. Overhead cost 560,453,010 naira carried. Total 1,659,278,291 naira carried. Bus rapid transit and transport regulatory BRT and TR. Personnel cost 36,994,803 naira carried. Overhead cost 15,050,000 naira carried. Total 52,044 naira 803 naira carried. Department of Public Transportation overhead cost 16,786 naira carried. Overhead cost 46,100,000 naira carried. Total 130,116,786 naira carried. Department of Transportation personnel cost 91,432,414 naira carried. Overhead cost 34,475,313 naira carried. Total 125,907,727 naira carried. Education Secretariat personnel cost 301,493,964 naira carried. 385,198,000 naira carried. Subtotal 686,691,964 naira carried. For mass education, personnel cost 669,112,562 naira carried. Overhead cost 167,665,015 naira carried. Subtotal 836,777,577 naira carried. FCT Education Resource Center personnel cost 322,628,380 naira carried. Overhead cost 160,683,005 naira carried. Total 483,311 naira 385,000 naira carried. FCT Universal Basic Education, 10 billion 691,463,234 naira carried. Overhead costs 728,525,016 naira carried. FCT subtotal 11,419,988,215 naira carried. Amendment. FCT Secondary School Secondary Education Board. Excuse me. Personnel costs 8 billion 364 million 828,978 naira carried. Overhead costs 1 billion 227 million 206,966 naira and 96 naira carried. Subtotal 9 billion 592 million 35,974 naira carried. FCT College of Education Zuba personnel costs 1 billion 226 million 962 million 574 naira carried. Costs 55 million 732,008 naira carried. Subtotal 1 billion 282 million 694,582 naira carried. Agency for Science and Technology personnel costs 664 million 975,821 naira carried. Overhead cost 367 million 490,700 naira carried. Total 1 billion 32 million 476,000 76 or 70. Which is the correct traffic area? 470? 470,521 naira carried. FCT Scholarship Board personnel costs 119 million 625,602 naira carried. Costs 248 million 156,500 carried. And subtotal 367 million 782,102 naira carried. Department of Quality Assurance personnel costs 544 million 968,296 naira carried. Overhead costs 31 million 349,020 naira carried. Overhead costs to subtotal 576 million 317,316 naira carried. Department of Higher Education personnel costs 96 million 312,963 naira carried. Overhead costs 26 million 58,455 naira and 45 naira carried. 122 million 371,408 naira carried. Of Policy Planning, Research and Statistics personnel costs 76 million 685,556 naira carried. Overhead costs 73,325,716 naira carried. 150 million, 11,315 naira carried. 11,000, sorry, 315 naira carried. Health and Human Services Secretariat, Headquarters. Personnel costs 6,295,164,320 naira carried. 320 naira carried. 10,224,904,094 naira carried. 520,414 naira carried. And midwifery personnel cost 362,694,655 naira carried. Cost 118,776,700 naira carried. 471,355 naira carried. Public Health Department, personnel cost 523,702,194 naira carried. Cost 202,782,600 naira carried. 726,684,794 naira carried. Cost Health Planning, Research and Statistics Department 147,551,575 naira carried. Overhead cost 85,861,952 naira carried. 233,413,527 naira carried. Department of Pharmacy. Personnel cost 180,916,039 naira carried. Overhead cost 82,600,000 naira carried. Total is 263,516,039 naira carried. FCT Medical Diagnostics Department. Personnel cost 175,821,837 naira carried. Overhead cost 75,400,000 naira, 400,000 naira carried. Subtotal 251,221,837 naira carried. Health Management Board. Personnel cost 10,396,873 10,896,873,072 naira carried. Overhead cost 256,144,500 naira carried. 1,653,017,572 naira carried. Primary Healthcare Development Board. Personnel cost 896,510,862 naira carried. Overhead cost 226,999,612 naira carried. Subtotal 1,123,510,474 naira carried. Agricultural Rural Development Secretariat. Personnel cost Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat, personal cost, 199,709,538 naira carried. Overhead cost, 160,400,000 naira carried. 360,109,538 naira carried. FCT Agriculture Development Project, personnel cost, 411,262,841 naira carried. Overhead cost, 38,603,168 naira carried. 149,860,009 naira carried. Of agricultural services, personnel cost 151,788,682 naira carried. 17,025,000 naira carried. Department of Agricultural Planning and Research, and Statistics, personnel cost 91,435,552 naira carried. Head cost 45,714,000 naira carried. 137,175,552 naira carried. Department of Veterinary Services, personnel cost 468,705,863 naira carried. Head cost 22,750,000 naira carried. Total is 491,455,863 naira carried. Department of Animal Production, personnel cost 125,819,930 naira carried. Overhead cost 6,325,000 naira carried. 132,144,930 naira carried. Forestry and Road Development, personnel cost 180,924,678 naira carried. Cost 109,275,000 naira carried. 290,199,678 naira carried. Social Development Secretariat, personnel cost 208,545,448 naira carried. Overhead cost 5,576,870,000 naira carried. I said so. Yep. Oba Otakwaye. Thank you. Oba Otakwaye. Thank you. You can meet the chairman for breakdown. 5,776,870,000 carried. 5,785,415,448 naira carried. Welfare Department, personnel cost 102,461,606 naira carried. Overhead cost 118,625,3 300 naira carried. Subtotal 221,086,906 naira carried. The department personnel cost 115,530,814 naira carried. Overhead cost 148,989,000 naira carried. Total 264,019,000. Am I right? There's the typing is not correct here. I don't know. It's not out. 519,814 naira carried. Tourism Department personnel cost 88,849,883 naira carried. 28,513,000 naira carried. 117,376,884 naira carried. Gender Development Department personnel cost 63,037,000 naira 316 naira carried. Cost is 82,540,000 naira carried. 146,577,000 naira 316 naira carried. Arts and Culture personnel cost 106,657,730 naira carried. Is 43,654,000 naira carried. 170,311,730 million carried. Department personnel cost 58,202,961 naira carried. Overhead cost is 92,636,825 naira carried. Abuja Metropolitan subtotal 150,839,786 naira carried. Abuja Metropolitan Management Council personnel cost 217,779,000 naira 174 naira carried. Overhead cost 164,600,000 naira carried. 382,379,174 naira carried. Parks and Recreation personnel cost 370,209,080 naira 80 naira carried. Overhead cost 118,550,000 naira only carried. Is 488,759,080 naira carried. Facilities maintenance and management personnel cost 254,473,447 naira carried. 2,588,026,000 naira 903 million naira only carried. Subtotal is 2,842,500,000 naira 350 naira only carried. Urban Affairs Personnel costs, 20,439,865 naira. Carried. 14,835 naira 562 naira. Carried. 35,275,427 naira. Carried. Control Department. Personnel cost 612,601,815 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 211,802,000 naira 500 naira. Carried. Subtotal is 824,404,315 naira. Carried. FCT Water Board. Personnel cost 1,197,858,953 naira. Carried. Overhead cost 1,598,924,094 naira. Carried. Subtotal is 2,796,167,000,000. Traffic information system. No. 760,000 naira 847 million. Department of Fire Service. Subtotal 89 million. Carried. Total overhead 962 naira. Carried. Carried. Of monitoring and 2,320,486,000. Advertisement and signage 1,000,000,431,156,003 naira. Carried. 41 million. Carried. Healthcare development naira. Carried. Rapid transit and transfer. Carried. FCT 899 naira 69,686,513 naira. Carried. Welfare Department 132 naira. Carried. Carried. Metro 27,500,000 naira. 51 million. Satellite Towns Development Service 300,500 and supply. Consider the report 9,206,865 naira only is for personal cost, and the sum of 55,393,961,800 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 80,225,923,400 naira only is for capital project for the services of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing 1st January and ending when the 2021 FCT Statutory Appropriation Act comes into effect. Approve Part A, recurrent non-debt expenditure, Schedule 1 to 88, Part B, capital expenditure, Schedule 1 to 88, and Clauses 1 to 7, explanatory memoranda and long title of the bill. Leader, move that we adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Honorable Speaker, foreign members, I hereby move that the House do adopt the report of the Committee on Supply.
Honorable Goni.
My name is Honorable Gideon Goni. I represent Kaura Federal Constituency. I come from Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion that we do adopt the report on the committee of the whole.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, Committee of Supply. Point of order? You can only plead. You can't come through point of order. Thank you. We suspend our rules to allow you to lay the report. Thank you. Chairman, suspend our rules to allow him to lay the report on IDP. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Mohammed Umar Jega, representing Alero Gondo Jega Federal Constituency. May I move that this House do receive the report of the Committee on Ethnically Displaced Persons and Refugees on the situation of the internally displaced persons and refugees in the internally displaced camps across the country, pursuant to Order 18, Rule 56, 2C of the Standing Orders. I so move.
Gonda. Yes, Oluga.
Total colleague, my name is Representative Taiwo Oluga. I speak for the people of Rewali Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Osun State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you, sir.
Say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Go ahead and lay a report. Regarding the NSAS security, it's at 3 o'clock, and I'm supposed to chair. So I'll beg you to step down your tomorrow. We can do it tomorrow. Step down the last. Bill stepped down by the leave of the House to be scheduled tomorrow for consideration. We'll observe that. Thank you. Announcement. The House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters is jointly organizing a public hearing with the Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission on a bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act 2010 and enact the Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2020. 9th December date was for the organization 2010, Conference Hall 231, Senate Wing, National Assembly Complex, time 10 a.m. All members are invited. Honorable Aisha Ibrahim Jibril Duku, Chairman Gimben Duku, House Committee on the Electoral Matters. 10 a.m. Thank you. I wish to report the death of Mrs. Jiba Maika, wife one of our colleagues, Honorable Jiba Yohana Micah, who died on Friday, 4 December 2020, after a brief illness. She was buried yesterday, December 7th, 2020. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Minority Leader. This is to announce APC caucus meeting for today, 8 p.m. in room 0.28. APC caucus meeting today, 8 p.m. Please try and reach out to all colleagues who might not be here, so that we'll all be punctual for the meeting at 8 o'clock at room 0.28. 028. Please. No, those who want to defect, those are open for them to come and watch. Can we rise for 1 minute silence to observe the prayer for the wife of our colleague, and then the motion that was moved on the floor earlier on? Perfect peace. Thank you. Leader, move that the House do adjourn to tomorrow, 11 a.m.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Moguno. I represent Martin Moguno Ganze Federal Constituency, acting leader by the grace of Mr. Speaker. I hereby move that the House do adjourn to tomorrow by 11 a.m. I so move.
Seconder. Yes, sir.
Till tomorrow, 11 a.m. I so second.
Motion say aye. Those against say nay. That's have it. House is hereby adjourned to tomorrow, 11 a.m.